Hello, everybody. Salut tout le monde. Hello to everybody, to the world. My name is Jimmy Smith. Welcome to Key Grape Varieties, Pinot Gris Grigio. This is the beginner's version, a shortened section. If you are interested in learning more about the grape Pinot Gris or Grigio, please go to the advanced version. The link is below the video. So I'm Jimmy Smith. My handle is @winewithjimmy. I am the owner and founder of West London Wine School, also South London Wine School. So both of those are Fulham for the first one, and Greenwich and Streatham for South London. And then I also have a cool wine bar called Streatham Wine House, located, of course, in Streatham, South London. All of our websites are below there for our tastings and courses, including Wine Scholar Guild, WSET, and all of our fine wine tastings, and so on and so on. So we are going to look at the grape Pinot Gris or Pinot Grigio. This is the same thing. In the world, there are grapes that have many different names. So it's the same grape with different names because of all the different locations, dialects, languages. So you will find different names. So Pinot Gris means Pinot Grey. Pinot Grigio means the same thing, but in Italian. It is a color mutation of Pinot Noir. So it is one that it has wild in the vineyard. It has changed into a different color mutation. So a Pinot Noir, noir means black. And this is where the skins are this kind of dark blackish color. A Pinot Gris, meaning gray, is a slightly lesser blacker color. It's more of a grayish, reddish color, but it can be quite dark as well. And it's from around Burgundy and Germany, where we'll find this variety. And if you take Burgundy in Germany, in between is Alsace. And in fact, that gives you an idea of where the grape has migrated to. It has migrated to that middle area, away from Burgundy, into Alsace, and still in Germany. They're the two important places for it around this area. But the grape was then introduced into North Italy as early as the 19th century. Now, this is around Veneto. It has been said that it's been introduced in the Val d'Aosta. That's the Alpine Monte Bianco part of Italy. But it was introduced around Veneto and Friuli, so that's near Venice. This is east of Verona. This is west of Trieste. And south of Udine. And in that area, that's where we find loads of it. It's actually the biggest cultivated area for Pinot Grigio or Pinot Gris in the world. So that's where we find most of our volume stuff. It likes cooler conditions. It's a typical white grape, although it's not technically white or green. It's this kind of pinkish color, but it does like cooler conditions, cool to moderate climates is what it prefers. It then produces wines which are not the highest in acid. They're normally, for Pinot Gris, on the lower side. But for Pinot Grigio in Italy, because of their early pickings and bigger productions, you'll tend to find huge acid levels actually in a Pinot Grigio. So if you go into an English supermarket and pick up a bottle of Pinot Grigio, or anywhere in the world, in fact, that's really cheap, in the UK, say £5-6 a bottle, it will be this high acid, fresh, light style from early picking and mass production. You can make blush styles because there is color in the skins, because they're kind of this pinkish, grayish color. You can give some color from the skins when you ferment the grapes. And that's what makes those what we call Pinot Grigio blush. And the blush is because of your kind of slightly blushing color, that pinkish color that you get into the wine. So how do these styles compare then? Pinot Gris versus Pinot Grigio. Pinot Grigio, as I mentioned, early picking, big production, and will be made often in stainless steel tanks in big productions. This makes light, acidic, fresh wines, which are quite neutral in character, not too much flavor or aroma. Pinot Gris, which is from Alsace or grown in some parts of Germany, will actually be ripened a bit better, a bit more. And will produce more fuller wines from generally older vines. So you'll find bigger wines, less acids, and probably some oak, certainly from Germany. So there really is a big difference between those two types from the French and the Italian. Now, just a caveat on this, I've mentioned Pinot Grigio and Pinot Gris. These are generalizations. There are some really good Pinot Grigios in Italy. certainly around Alto Adige and Friuli, and even some skin contact styles. Well, that's for another day. Where do we find Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio? As mentioned, the biggest area by far, it's actually got 5 times the amount of California, is Italy, and mainly around Veneto. So that's in the northeast of Italy, which is east of Lake Garda, between Verona, Venice, Trieste, that kind of area. Big volumes, and most of it quite simple, quite neutral, quite fresh, as mentioned on the last slide. California has a sizable amount. We don't need to worry about that too much, but it is quite a bit of Pinot Grigio made there. Germany, around the area called Baden, that's the other side of Alsace, across the Rhine, you find it being called Grau Burgunder, grey Burgundy. Their way of saying Pinot Gris. Fuller bodied styles being produced there for the most part. Australia, a bit of a production. France in 5th place here, which is quite low, despite the fact that it produces the classic old style, and we know it comes from France originally. So quite interesting. New Zealand, we popped down at the bottom, does have a bit of a production, just because they are up and coming. And there is some significant decent styles across Marlborough. But they, in New Zealand, are actually quite clear on how they market their Pinot Gris, because if it's a fuller style, they call it Pinot Gris. If it's a lighter, fresher, easy drinking, they will call it Pinot Grigio. They actually use both monikers for the variety. What does it taste like? If you do get a simpler style like Pinot Grigio from Italy, it will be lemon, pear, lime, maybe slightly floral, but very high acids and quite light in body and low in alcohol. From France and from Germany, you'll tend to find it being riper, peach, apricot at the bottom of the picture, even slightly creamy or buttery notes, bottom right, and almondy characteristics as well, even slightly smoky. They tend to be much more complex with lower amounts of acidity and bigger bodies and bigger alcohols. So that really is our look at the Pinot Gris, Pinot Grigio grape. If you do want more information about the history of the grape, exactly where it came from, more winery concepts, more viticultural concepts, please look at our advanced version of this one, which the link is in the bottom of the description. Any comments or questions, please get in touch with @WineWithJimmy. There's our wine school handles, the wine bar, and all of our websites as well. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've learned something, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.